Hello everyone and welcome to Ship Shape. For today's episode of Ship Shape, we're going to be talking about ship layout design, which is how we match up the interior and exterior of our ships. For today's episode, we're going to be focusing on how we did this with the Genesis Starliner. When coming out with a layout for our ships, we usually start with a design brief created by someone from our design team. They take into consideration the functionality of the ship, any special needs it might have, as well as the overall aesthetic we want it to have when you're inside of the ship and when you see it in space. The first art we have created is usually of the exterior of the ship. We'll give our design brief to one of our concept artists, and they'll come up with something that covers all of the special needs and functionality that our designers have decided this ship is going to need. They'll come up with a few images of the exterior, sometimes a few mood shots to make sure we know what the ship is going to look like, to make sure we get the aesthetic we want while accounting for the functionality of the ship. For certain ships, either larger ships or ships with a special functionality involved, artists will also deliver a high-level layout for design approval that just has some basic sketches of where each room is going to fall inside of the ship. The Genesis Starliner in particular is actually a great ship for this episode because it's one of the first commercial transport ships that we've designed. For this reason, we went into more detail than usual when doing the layout for the interior of the ship to make sure that we accounted for all of the special things that this type of vehicle is going to need. You'll see here that we have an image of the first draft layout for this ship. It accounts for special things that commercial transport ships are going to need, such as a large cargo area, and accounting for how large amounts of people are going to enter exit, as well as how large amounts of luggage are going to be loaded onto and off of the ship quickly. We made the cockpit bigger. We figured that the crew lives there. They're going to need enough space to sleep and eat and rest, and for their luggage as well as the luggage of the passengers. We also increased the cargo storage area. We wanted to make sure that passengers not only had enough room for all of the luggage they might need to bring with them on a trip, but also that we had enough room for all the supplies that are necessary during travel. I'm not going to talk too in depth about these. You're going to hear later during Around the Verse from Randy, the designer on this ship, about how these work in the Genesis Starliner. We also have an X-ray image of what it looks like when we lay out a rough design of the interior of a ship over a rough design of the exterior of the ship, just to confirm that everything lines up and everything looks modular in the way that we want it to. This is to ensure that our segments, as we design the regular version, the luxury version of this ship, and all of the other variants that we have coming down the line, that everything is going to be able to be easily picked up, put out, and replaced with different sections depending on what you want your Genesis Starliner to look like. That's it for this week. Thank you guys for tuning into Ship Shape. Back to you, Sandy and Ben.